Shout out EmEz and tune in to the sit down.
Gotta do it easy. That's what I'm doing.
It's the sit down. It's your main man, EmEz, and across from me is a gentleman that has been fighting for the rights of, let's just say, people, for quite some time. Also, is a dope artist in his own respect as well. Mysonne is sitting across from me this afternoon. How's everything, Mike?
I'm good, King. How you, man?
I can't complain. I'm happy to finally get a chance to sit and talk to you because there's a lot of things going on in the world that I want to just get a feedback from. Because I think I'm a segment of the community that doesn't really know, but knows what we see. And I know what we see isn't really knowing the whole story.
Yeah.
So if you could enlighten me on some of what's going on out here.
I mean, it depends on what you're talking about. There's so much stuff going on. You got girls getting dragged in Waffle Houses.
Yes.
You got young boys getting shot down in their backyards. You got police beating up the football players. You got young boys on honor rolls getting 5 years for stealing Jordans. Black people.
Yeah.
So the common factor is that it's black people. You know, so that's what it is for me. It's just like, at some point we just got to say to ourselves, like, this is what's happening. Like, you know, and a lot of us, you know, when you're not really impacted by something, or it's not really directly happening to you, or we in the club and we chilling, you know, you don't take it that serious until, you know, a lot of these people that become activists, mothers that become activists, brothers that become activists, you know, it happened because they were forced into it. They lost their loved one. You know, Trayvon's mother, who is a good friend of mine, like, she wasn't thinking about being an activist. Now that's something that she does every day of her life because her loved one was lost at the hands of racism and gun violence. So, you know, fortunately for me, I didn't have to lose my life or lose a life of a loved one. You know, me losing my freedom
was enough.
Was just enough. So, you know, I was able to see the impact, to see how the structure of the system is built and designed to just keep us in this revolving door.
As I was doing research on you, it said that you went to school for criminal justice.
Yeah,
you have a background in this.
I went to John Jay.
Oh, okay.
For a year.
What in your time doing the activist work, what is something that you've learned that you would want to pass on to somebody?
What I've learned is that it's a multi-pronged strategy. You know, a lot of people like, yo, y'all just be marching for nothing. Nobody care about marching, and then not understanding what marching is. Marching is the first wave to change, because if you look through our history, Martin Luther King, when he sat down with the president and told him what was going on, he said, yeah, but you got to make me do it. He said, yeah, everything you saying is right, but you have to make me.
The president said that.
That's what he sat down and said. He said that to Martin Luther King, and that was saying, okay, what you and the strategy is, you have the people when you march, and the people have spoken on how they feel, and then it gives the elected officials that we vote into office the power to go and say, look, this is what the people want.
Yeah, I had an assemblywoman up here last week, and she was telling me how important it was to be involved in your local voting more than the national.
Is way more. Exactly. It's what impacts you. Like, I was just in Sacramento last night doing with Tamika Mallory, and we were doing a Power to the Polls. We're doing a Power to the Polls tour, in which we're going state to state. And I do barbershop talks. Last night I went to Sacramento and called all the G's to the barbershop, all the young kids, everybody. We sat down and we were just talking about the importance of the vote. We had a couple of the people who are up for vote in there, and they were telling us, you know, why it's important to vote. And it's because these are the people directly impacting you right now. You know, and the thing is, that's why the government is not working for us, because we're not putting candidates in office that have our best interest at hand, people that come from our communities.
But the ones that look like us, they're not going to accept.
Yeah, but no, that's not that. It's not really the ones that look like us. You vote. It's not who they accept. The bottom line is, our communities, our communities have to start realizing, because a lot of us don't run for office because we don't see the significance in it. We see it like, oh, nobody cares about what's going on there. I'm not trying to go for office. But when you put somebody, let's say me, for example, not because that's not what I want to do. If I was in office, then I'm gonna make sure I advocate for what I want to get done, because I understand what goes on in our community. I'm from a community. I'm gonna come to the community and hang out and go like, what's going on? What we need here? Like, what resources I need? I'm gonna go every time I go in these offices and sit down. I'm gonna have a conversation about what's needed for the community, and it's dear to me because I come from that community.
Okay, so this is a perfect segue to my next question. So, why would Jay-Z stop Meek Mill from talking to Donald Trump?
Because Donald Trump doesn't have any real interest in doing anything. He's trying to save face, and this is what he's doing. He's utilizing.
But if we're saying the conversation needs to be had, and Meek is willing to have the conversation.
But what conversation needs to be had? What is the conversation?
The conversation of the racism, the racistness of this. But
he already had that. Trump sat down with Martin Luther King. He sat down with Kanye. He sat down with Steve Harvey before he went to office. Do you realize what happens is Trump utilizes black people to get black people. He don't care about your interests. He don't care about what you do. He gets on TV and says, yeah, look, the blacks like me. Look at the blacks. The blacks that you call cool, they come and sit down with me and don't do nothing for you. See, that's what it is. He utilizes, he understands. Meek Mill right now just came out of prison. He got one of the biggest cases. It's all over the news. I can utilize him. I can sit down with him and act like I'm doing something, you know, and probably throw them a fake bone, and then reality take everything away, because that's what he does. They're rationing back our human rights. Like, we fighting for human rights. We're not even fighting for the regular, you know, something extra. We fighting just to be considered human. The fact that you can walk outside just because you black and get shot and nobody's accountable, that means that they don't even consider you human. So when they talk about police and justice reform, you know what's wrong. Why do I got to talk to you about justice? You know what's wrong. You're 100% aware. Blacks overpopulate the jails. We have the biggest population, mass incarceration in the world, and we only account 5% of the population. So you know what's wrong. What you got to talk to me about? You just want to utilize my face to get the people that follow me to say, well, Trump is not that bad, because you see that you getting killed by us every day. So that's all it is. That he keeps doing it, and I'm glad that he did, because it's a strategy that he continues to use. He used Kanye. He said, "Yeah, Kanye." You see what he went on the news and said, "Yeah, thanks, Kanye. You know, my Make America Great hats went up so 5%, and we moving up in black community." So this is a strategy. Like, we not stupid. We ain't gonna just keep letting you use us to tell us what you want. We realize you're not doing nothing, and then it's the fake. You know, what I call fake news about the job, the unemployment rate dropping. Of course it's dropping, because you know what you're doing. You're shipping all the Mexicans and all these people out of here, and these low wage jobs. You telling us we could take those. So now that they gone and they not working for the minimum wage jobs, and you giving it to the poor black people, and because now what you're doing is you replace. Because what happened was, the immigrants was coming over, replacing us as the low end, the slaves, so to speak. So that's why he said "Make America Great Again," because it was great when black people was the people we was on the back. So see, what happens is now when we bring the immigrants in here, they take our resources and they bring them back to other places. You know, they come here, they get rich here and go back. They not leaving it here. They know if you make the black people get a couple dollars here, we can use them. We can continue to. They still the bottom feeders. We still not letting them. If you look. From 1950, we have not changed the wealth gap in America. We still account for 2% of the wealth in America. It's nothing changed, but what it is that you visualize and they make us see a couple of people that get a couple $1 million. It's always been that way. They don't let us get wealth. That's one thing that Kanye said, and that's when I paid attention to him. He said they won't allow you to be Ralph Lauren. Like, you ain't gonna be Ralph, though. They're not gonna allow you to accumulate wealth. You can get money, but wealth and intergenerational wealth. So when you die, you got 300 million and 150 million just to invest and lose. Like, if you look at the people that what is the man that did the Ponzi scheme?
Madoff. Bernie Madoff.
Bernie Madoff was making off. One of my friends said he met a guy that gave Bernie Madoff $500 million. Just gave them to your investors. Where we get $500 million just to tell somebody? You understand what I'm saying? Like, we're not even in the game. The reality of the situation, if you look at some of the best of us, we still not in the game. It's probably 2 of us that can actually sit at a table when it comes to wealth in America. So it's all false sense of reality. So what Trump does, he knows what's going on. He knows the system. He knows how the structure is. So when he sits down and talks about he want to talk to us about what, Trump, just do what you gotta do. You don't gotta talk to me. You know what's going on in America. You've been raping the structure, the white supremacist structure for years. Why you need to talk to us about it? Fix it.
Amen. It's the sit down, Mysonne in the building, it's Shemaine, man, EmEz. I said it to somebody that I forget who I was saying it to. It feels like Trump gave y'all all the bravery to be racist again. Just like be racist like me. But y'all gonna lose your jobs, but he won't. If you're watching Roseanne Barr and everybody spew this racist rhetoric and they lose their jobs, but he sits back and is still the president of the United States.
Yeah, and that shows, it just goes to design. It just goes because, like, Roseanne might lose her job, this job, but she probably already paid for the season she was gonna work anyway, and they'll hire her somewhere else. They'll go over. Like, this is what happens with them. It blows over for a couple of months. They say just go, just disappear. Just like what happened with the racist dude that ran the NBA that had the team. He did, look, we gonna keep just give it to somebody else. You still get paid when ain't nothing really gonna happen to you. We just can't act like you're not sitting here. So that's all that really happens. They don't lose nothing. Even if you look at what I was trying to explain to people about the Me Too movement, of course, if you rape a woman, you're supposed to go to jail. I don't care who does it. But the problem is, it's only us that's really going to jail. It took them, Harvey Weinstein, last year he finally did they finally charged him with something,
and he's out on bail now.
That's what I'm trying to say. So it's and that's because people will say, oh, but Bill Cosby just got convicted, but where's Harvey Weinstein? So you know what that is? That's a fake perp walk. You'll say he was out on bail. He'll settle out of court. He won't do nothing. He'll get some type of probation or something, because this is the design. It always happens like that. What's his name? The one that was giving everybody AIDS, Charlie Sheen. Where Charlie Sheen at? He was giving people AIDS. Where we like this? Is what I'm trying to say. Everything that they come down, it affects blacks way more than it affects anybody else. And that's the structure of America. It's built on white supremacy and capitalism. And we not gonna have as much money in them, because that's the way the structure was never meant for us to be equal.
Is there a way to stop it? How do we change it?
The way that we change it is building our own thing. Like, shout out to my brother Jay Morrison. He just started this Tulsa Fund, which is like the rebuilding of Black Wall Street. He has a Tulsa real estate fund in which you can invest. All black people can invest $500 for shares of the real estate company. So what happens is you put your $500. He has a goal of $50 million. You put your $500 and then you get I think 4 or 5 shares of the company. That's the lowest you can get. You can get more shares. You can buy. And what happens is they take your money and we invest in our own real estate. And you become shares and you get a profit off of it. So we invest in our own real estate. We buy all malls. We buy homes. We buy all this. And we start buying things that we own. See, that's the motto it's going to take. We have to start owning things. We have to own. Amazing. And that's what I'm saying. And that's what the Black Wall Street was doing before they blew it up, because they seen that we were on to something. And that's what we got to do. We got to start empowering ourselves. We can't keep working at the organization that's owned by the white person talking about we want to be free.
But what's to say they won't burn it down again?
But the thing is, it's not to say that they won't burn it down again. But at that point, you see what's going on. Like, I think we're wiser. I think at this point, we realize racism is existing. We realize white supremacy is a thing. We see it happening. So when you start seeing that, okay, we building something, we build it, and they burn it down, at this point, every black person in the world got to be outraged. And at that point, they telling you either you're going to die or you're going to fight. It's nothing else. If they burn down, if they show you that blatant, because that's what they're doing now. Racism is so blatant, and if it's to the point where you can't ignore it. You can't sit there and say, well, I used to have people like, y'all just be going overboard with this racist stuff. And I'm like, okay, cool. Just show me. And every time a new black woman or guy is killed or shot, I'm like, what? Show me where this happens to the white people. Show me where a black, older 70-year-old woman gets pulled out of the car by the police.
Yeah, that was crazy.
And he cursing her. Like, where does that happen? Show me where this happens to the white people. Show me where the white man.
Well, I will say this. There was a clip of some girl on a beach.
And you know what it is? That's the first time you could tell me that
I'm not gonna lie. That's the first time I've ever seen a white girl get beat up by a cop.
And you know what it is? And that lady has a record. She has an extensive record. She probably had issues. These are probably cops that know her. They probably had things that going on. So there are a lot of different things that go on. And maybe it's just an isolated incident. And I'm not saying, but I'm just trying to tell you, you used to giving me 1 to 201. So it don't add up. It's some cops that's just as altogether. They just don't care about nothing. But then it's just racist cops. They just are inherently racist, and they bring it to work. You know, I just left Stephon Clark's house in Sacramento with the young boy that got shot in his backyard. And when you go through that backyard and you listen to the accounts what happened to his family and how he got shot, and they said he had a cell phone in his hand, and when you see where they came and shot him and said they couldn't see anything, I'm just trying to figure out, if you couldn't see anything, how could you see he had a gun? If you couldn't see anything, what is the process to trying to figure out what's going on?
And I've always said this. Yes, it's the cops, but the cops are taking the direction from somewhere higher up. I know there's got to be an academy or something somewhere where there's a procedure on how to properly subdue. No,
it does.
But when it comes to black people,
that's
all that
what
shit
it
goes
is.
out the window.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. It don't work. It don't go for black people. They do it. They are successfully de-escalate white people all the time, even when they're aggressive, when they got guns, they pointing it at them, they give them all types of warnings, just calm down, this and that. Us, they mistake your hand, your phone, they mistake your wallet, they mistake anything in your hand for a weapon, you get shot 20 times, not once, not, oh, I'm scared, let me shoot once to get out the way. Where's the, let me take cover and see what's going on, let me try to talk you out of it, you might be where's the strategy? Because it's not designed by that. It's not designed there. It's designed for them to shoot to kill us, and you know, it's called state-sanctioned violence. It's sanctioned by the state. This is what it is. So and they always, and all they have to do is say they fear for their life. That's the only words they have to say.
I saw a meme, and I hate going back to memes when we're talking about something so serious. But the meme said, in the '60s, it was a white woman being feared for her life that hung a black man. Now it's cops fearing for their life that are killing black men.
It's the truth. I mean, it's I try to tell you, we haven't really they just are rationing back our human rights, and then they take a little back. They trying to undo every little thing Obama did. Every little, because they blocked him from doing everything while he was in office. They pretty much like, man, we don't care what you do. We rubber stamp. All right. Nope. That's not going. Yeah. You know, and they did it blatantly. That man, you talking about Trump, like, that man never spoke any rudeness to anybody. And they called them monkeys. They called them all types. It's just like, are you serious? Like, this is the reality we living in. But Trump sits there, disrespects every race, every person. He says what he wants to people, and then people say, you know, we picking on Trump. And it's just the weirdest shit I've ever seen.
Let's talk music, Mysonne.
Yes, sir. Talk music.
Talk music, man.
Mixtape out now. Mixtape out now.
What's it called?
It's called Gangsta But Woke as Fuck.
Nice. I like that.
It's crack.
Give me some songs on it.
Diet King is crack.
I seen the one you did with This Is America. Is that on there too?
I didn't do it. No, it's not on there. It's on Diet King is dope. They Don't Love You Till You Win. Got a joint with Swiss. Where Was Everybody?
Now, when you go into the booth to record these albums, are you being conscious of what's going on in the world? Are you making sure you're putting that into your raps?
Of course I am. I mean, you know, it's that's why the title is Gangsta But Woke as Fuck. Mm-hmm. You know, it's still gangster, it's still street orientated, it's still what we come from, but it's giving you a different perspective. I still have the same principles that I had in the street, but I just have a different outlook. I realize that the enemy ain't the nigga that I'm on the corner with. Mm-hmm. They're trying to figure a way out like me. I realize that we got here somewhere, so we supposed to be trying to get out together. You know, and if we take that same energy and we utilize it together instead of against each other, then that's when we start moving places. We've been stripped completely of our culture, our everything, and we don't get it. We don't get it. If you look at other ethnicities and cultures, they have culture. They still have unity. They still go back home with what they brought here, and they worried about each other. Like, I was in prison, and everybody else was together. The Africans was over here. The Asians was over here. The Hispanics over here. Blacks was just wherever it's so many different places we was. There was never no cohesion and no unity with us. You know, so that's what it is in this music. It's like making you understand the reality. Like, I've been in the streets. I know the realities of the streets. I know you not selling 1 million bricks and it's just not happening. You're not killing nobody and going. It's just not happening. You're gonna get a 2-year run and you might get 50 years. That's the reality of the streets. I've been around gangsters. Anybody you name, I've been around my whole life. So I'm giving you the real of the streets. I'm not giving you fabrication of the streets. So that's just the difference of my perspective in my music. It's not. It still has the same thing. So, you know.
Mysonne still got the bars.
Oh no,
Appreciate
definitely
that.
got bars.
How you feel about this Pusha T Drake situation?
I mean, I love it. I love.
See, that's what I'm saying. It's competition.
Yeah, I love. That's what hip hop is
You
about,
think
man.
you went too far?
No, because well, you gonna wait for somebody to go too far for you? Like once you bring up somebody's fiance's name or something, it's off.
My assistant over here, she was too scared. She said you had the big old muscles, but tell my son I ain't fuck with him because he's on Drake's side.
No, it's not so much that I'm on Drake's side. I'm not on Drake's side. No. I put up a thing.
Oh, you're on Pusha T's side. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I'm Pusha. Like, because me and Pusha go way back. Like, Pusha's like, that's my man. We got music together, like everything. I like Drake as an artist, but I was mad at Meek. Okay. Personally, like, and Meek probably still got a little attitude because I said something about it. Like you wasn't supposed to stop.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, you had the ability. Like, you had the ability to be there, and you came back afterwards and showed, but you wasn't supposed to stop. And I always said to myself, like, Drake could rap, but when you get with somebody that's really from the streets and you start talking that thing, it's gonna be a different element. And Meek had the ability to do that. I just think that he lets everybody around him talk him out of it because Drake was such a big, and he took a little stumble. It's like, you in a boxing match. You might fall down. Yeah. All right, I'm on one knee. Let me get back up. Let me get my composure and get back in. And then he waited too long for me. So I was mad with that. But Pusha attacked it exactly the way you supposed. You gotta attack him from the angles where he weak at. I'm not sitting there talking about how much money we got. Like, okay,
we can't compare them.
We're not even gonna talk about that, but we're gonna talk about
life,
principles and life. We're gonna talk about the real shit that the people that I know really care about. I can't appeal to your fan base because they gonna want what they want. But I know my fan base, I know what they want to hear. Yeah. And that's what you gotta do. You gotta cater to the people that love you, and that's why you here. So, you know, I love that. I'm Pusha always been, and even though, you know, the street thing, I get it. People, he always talk about, but that's what he talk about. You know. And nobody don't talk about it better than him.
Pusha T. I agree with you on that. No. Pusha T got to stand on his own too.
Yes, sir.
Any last things? We can do this forever, man. So
we could. I know you got things to do, man. But listen, go get that mixtape. Gangsta Woke as Fuck. It's on all streaming, you know, sites. I'm give you some music, whatever. We need to hear that. It's dope. If you're not registered to vote, go get registered to vote. Vote in your local.
I haven't voted since Obama the first time.
I know. Vote in your local elections is mandatory, man. And if you in the community and you understand what's going on, start running for election. Get people to run for elections. Like, you see your homeboys that's going to college and school, like, yo, why don't you run for election here? You know, we need people like you that understand what's going on, that's educated from our communities, that we can build with, that we can sit down and say, and you already know what's going on in the community. You know what this community needs. And that's how we got to get police. We got to get police from the community. People that, I know none of us want to be police, but if you're going to get a state job and you taking the regular life, then be a police officer. Be an officer friendly so that the kids can feel cool. You buying them ices that, you know, so you feel comfortable. Like, it's just simple. That's what we got to get. We got to start taking back our communities piece by piece by piece.
I think the love and compassion needs to come back.
Yeah, we
as far as the
villagers.
people all the way around, because it just seems like everyone's just so ready to just say fuck it.
Because because we don't have nothing. And when you start realizing, it's like a mouse that's been running around a maze, and he realizes a maze. At certain point, you realize the kids is getting high every day. They trying to escape the reality because they realize it's a maze. When you start realizing after a while, you start saying, damn, we really ain't really going nowhere. The same people is getting further and further. We not really going nowhere. And it's deterrent. It's deterrent for me to be on the front lines, understanding that what it's going to take for us to really win, most of us ain't ready to do. We fighting against an enemy that has no empathy or sympathy.
At all.
They have proven to you that they will kill you, your family, your kids, and smile at you while they doing. We don't have those hearts, but we still got to understand at this point it's either fight or die.
That's where we leave it, Mysonne.
Facts.
I appreciate you, my brother.
Appreciate you, King.
If you ever need to promote anything, talk anything, my door is open for you.
I appreciate you always, man. Always love.
Absolutely.
No doubt.
Mysonne, EmEz. This is the Sit Down.
Shout out EmEz and tune in to the Sit Down.
Doesn't do it easy. That's what I'm doing.